Really quickly, just before I begin to talk your ear off, I have set up a link for an application to work with me one-on-one. So if you're interested in working with me one-on-one in your cleaning business, then you can head to enhancedcleaning.com.au/mentorship. If you go there, there'll be like a 5 to 10 minute application form. You can write stuff in there, just ask you a bit about yourself and your business and kind of where you're at in your journey. And I will get back to you personally within 72 hours. There's no one from my team that's doing it. I will be reading every application, and if I see anyone that I think would be a good fit for me and vice versa, then I will happily, hopefully, give you a call and we can discuss a mentorship opportunity. So again, that's enhancedcleaning.com.au/mentorship. Go there and apply. It'll only take a few minutes out of your day. But anyway, I'm going to talk about digging your well before you're thirsty. It's a very powerful principle, and it's also the title of a book by someone called Harry Mackay. I didn't actually read the book when I first found out about this, but I was listening to a podcast by Russell Brunson, who is a great internet marketer. He's got a great podcast called Marketing Secrets, or The Marketing Secrets Show, or something like that. Very good podcast. I've listened to hundreds of episodes. And I remember one episode that really stuck out to me and really resonated and kind of sat in the back of my mind for a long time was this episode where he talked about digging your well before you're thirsty. And what that means is just, creating a lot of goodwill with someone and building rapport and constantly giving before you decide to take. Gary Vaynerchuk has a book called, Jab, 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 Right Hook. Same concept. It's just give, take. And you may have heard me talk about as well, the three things that I think make a successful business owner is A, your resilience. So how well do you deal with hardship and how well do you navigate conflict and how well do you get over hurdles and really push through the hard times in business? Number two is your relentlessness and your persistence on the pursuit of success. And number three is your ability to delay gratification. I think those are the three things that make any successful business owner. I think those are three common threads with all successful people is that they have resilience, they have a relentlessness and a persistence for their success, and they're able to delay gratification. And the last thing is very, very powerful, and it's been spoken to me so many ways in my journey. And when I first started my business, I'd started small businesses before this. I'd done a couple of marketing agencies. I tried marketing to restaurants. I had tried drop shipping, all these different things. And I tried to rush everything. I tried to rush every step of the process. I thought, if I just build it, they'll come. So let's build it quickly. Let's build it well. And I should start to make money. And I had that kind of mindset and that mentality towards a lot of things. And obviously I didn't achieve any success. But I didn't let that get me down. I knew that I wanted to make this work, and I knew that this was kind of my calling. I knew that I wanted to do something in business. I just didn't know how, and I didn't really know the core foundational principles of what made someone successful in business. And it's not until I started listening to podcasts and reading books, and yes, they do make that much of an impact on your journey. So keep listening to podcasts, keep reading books. They really are. This is a bit of a side note, but I was listening to another audio recording of some mastermind seminar thing. And the guy up on stage, he was asked a question by this lady. And she was like, how can I help my son in life? How can I help him get a job or start in business when he has no experience? Like, he's dropped out of school. He has no experience in anything. And the guy on stage was like, he's had a mobile phone. He's spent 4 to 6 hours on social media every day. Like, that is experience in life. That is experience. Like, imagine all the things you've learned every day over the course of 10 years from your phone. Like, I have a lot of general knowledge, and a lot of it is derived from my phone use. Like, it sounds silly, but just being glued to your phone for 4 to 6 hours a day is an experience. It is an education. You have probably learned a lot of things from doing that. Why did I even say that? What was I going on about? I don't know. Oh, yeah, like education. Like, all the audiobooks I've listened to, all the podcasts I've listened to, all the books I've read, as silly as it may sound, it has really given me a proper education. Just because there isn't a certification or a degree attached to it doesn't denote from the fact that it is a very, very powerful form of learning and education. Obviously, there's real world experience, there's doing the thing, there's the school of hard knocks, and there's the school of prior learning. There's the school of, listening to podcasts and doing your own due diligence and seeking information, which is what I've done. But that's kind of, I don't know why I made that point. It was a weird point to make. So all I'm saying is like, don't underestimate the power of podcasts and books. It has, for the large part, led me to where I am now. And it's so great, being a cleaner, I got to listen to podcasts and audiobooks every day while I worked because I was alone. So that was really cool. And, I'm basically getting a university level education right into my ears all hours of every day while I'm getting paid to work. Most uni students aren't getting paid to learn. They're actually paying to learn. So we're in a pretty good position, and that's all done from the power or from the comfort of your hand where you hold your phone. So we're in a very good spot in history at the moment. We're in a very good industry, especially given the time in history we're at with AI and all the advancements in tech. We are very safe, and it's never been easier to learn and grow, and I digress. So digging your well before you're thirsty, or learning to delay gratification. That's what really spoke to me. That was a really long kind of anecdote of my own experience, but it really resonated with me, and it's largely why I've been so successful in the different things I've done in my main business, in expanding to a new location, in putting my main location under management, and to social media as well. From the very start, when I started this cleaning business, I said to myself, I'm not going to set any expectations or any ultimatums or deadlines or limitations on myself. I'm just going to build this thing. I'm going to be a student of the business. I'm going to learn every day. I'm going to treat every obstacle, every hardship, every problem, every step along the way as a learning journey. And I'm not going to care about how much money I make. As long as I can make enough money to survive, I'm happy. So from the very start, from the very outset, I delayed gratification in my own business, and I transferred that mentality to pretty much everything I did. All the relationships I was trying to build with like real estate agents at the time, and different businesses around, and just people I knew, or people who I knew had the kind of customers that I wanted that could potentially be referral partners. I began to dig my well. And what I mean by that is I began to build goodwill with them. I began to give them, whether it might just be small gifts. Like I went into LJ Hooker in Bunbury one day, and I just left some chocolates on the reception desk, and I just walked out. No one was at the reception. I just left them there, and I had a little like note about my business and a business card and things like that. I would just do stuff like that, and I would email them and ask them if they needed any help with cleaning. I would just ask them how they're going. I would just slowly deposit goodwill into that relationship bank. And then slowly but surely, these people would warm up to me. I would start to get more inbound from the people that I was trying to build relationships with. The people that I looked up to, that I was trying to network with, they began to just talk to me more. And it's also why those groups like BNI and District 32 and those like business networking groups, people ask me pretty often, like, are those things worth it? And the reason they work, like it's an expensive investment, and it's up to you if you want to do it. I'm personally not in one. But I wouldn't say no to joining one. But I would recommend joining the Chamber of Commerce more in your local area. It's a lot cheaper, and I think there's a lot more potential upside. But anyway, the reason these groups like BNI and District 32 work isn't because you're going to get business from the people around you in the group. It's because you're going to build so much goodwill with them from seeing each other every month or every fortnight when you meet, and building goodwill and giving them stuff constantly all the time, and just being at the top of their mind, that eventually when someone they know needs a cleaner, or if someone in their workplace does, or a business partner or a business relationship they have, as soon as they need a cleaner, they will refer you to them, because they already know and they trust you, because that relationship has been built and established, which usually doesn't happen. Most people don't go out of their way to make that happen. But in these networking groups, obviously, it's kind of just forced upon you that you constantly network with each other and you build relationships and rapport. So inadvertently, you're digging your well before you're thirsty there. So you don't want to do the opposite, where you suddenly get thirsty and then you try to go to a well that you haven't dug yet. So you don't want to suddenly lose a big cleaning contract, or lose one of your trusted referral partners like a real estate agent, and then immediately go jump ship to the next one and be like, hey, I'm a cleaner. Do you need a cleaner? They're like, who are you? I've never seen you before in my life. Get away from me. It's because you haven't dug your well first. And there's a few stats that are really good that I can tie into this. And word of mouth still remains the most trusted marketing channel. So Nielsen Research, they put trust in recommendations from people you know at like 92%. And studies show as well that 70% of B2B deals originate from existing relationships or referrals. So what does that tell you? That tells you that people like to do business that they already, with people they already know or people they like. And so it's not like one secret society or a secret club that you can't get into. The only way in is to build relationships and to constantly give. It doesn't have to be physical gifts. You don't have to give people stuff all the time. But even just an email like my insurance broker, Steve Gillespie, he's a great guy. He really good insurance broker if you need a broker, by the way. But he'll always send me emails with just like good book recommendations or just like little bits of advice or like words of wisdom and quotes and stuff. And he'll just email these. I'm sure he's sending them out to a list, but for some reason they feel really personal to me. I don't know. But that's it's a good example of giving and never asking for anything back. But because he's constantly doing that, he's depositing goodwill into our working relationship. And I know that I can trust him. I refer him to other cleaning business owners. I just referred him now on this podcast. I've sent him dozens of clients that have cleaning businesses that need insurance because he has just been persistent in building the rapport between me and him. And he's constantly been giving and he's never asked for anything back. And so I feel like indebted to him. I feel, it's the law of reciprocity. He has given me so much value that I feel like I should give it back to him. And moreover from that, he's just always at the top of my consciousness when I think about an insurance broker. If I think insurance, I think of Steve from Business Insurance HQ. I have clients like St. John Hospital. If they think of a cleaner, they think of Enhanced Cleaning because we have been at the top of their conscious for years and years now. And we constantly do good work for them and give to them. And I have referral partners who, again, I'm at the top of their consciousness all the time because I'm always in contact with them. I'm always sending them messages. I'm always calling them. I'm always just sending them emails and just asking them how they're going. It doesn't have to be gifts. You don't have to give people stuff. You just have to give some sort of value and just stay at the top of people's consciousness. So with real estate agents, you can drop in with gift packs like I did. You could also just comment on their Instagram posts. Real estate agents are in love with themselves. They're like some of the most narcissistic people on earth. Not all of them, but some of them. And so if you comment on their Instagram posts and their Facebook posts, usually they have no engagement. So if you go in there and just comment something about the photo or the video, say this is really cool, love what you're doing, they're going to remember that and they're going to appreciate that. And congratulations, you've just deposited some goodwill into that relationship bank. And one day you can maybe make a withdrawal on that once you've built up enough. Even like NDIS support coordinators and plan managers, you can send them info packs explaining how clients can help maintain their independence with cleaning and like tips for how they can remain independent and things like that. Things that they could share with their clients even. And it can be marketing that's disguised as helpful tips or like blog posts and things like that. And, you're not selling, you're just helping. So you can do that to build goodwill in a working relationship as well. And, medical centers and construction sites, just stay in touch, even if they don't need you yet. Share new cleaning innovations, update them on cleaning standards. These are industries where there's always standards changing and there's always things getting introduced. Just send them out an email to let them know that, this thing just got changed in the medical facilities cleaning standard or whatever it is. Like they have guidelines they need to follow. Things like that. You can even, just send them some sort of material so that you stay on the top of their mind so that one day, they don't need a cleaner right now, but one day they're going to need someone and the first people they're going to think of is you. Now that's something that you can't predict. It's not something that you can count down the days to, but eventually it's going to happen. Inevitably, they're going to need a new cleaner and the first person that's going to pop up in their mind is you because you have stayed there. You have stayed at the forefront of their consciousness and you have constantly poured goodwill into that relationship and you constantly built rapport over a period of time. And so they will remember you and you'll be rewarded for that because most people aren't prepared to do that. They don't want to delay gratification. They want to see results now. They're like, if I just go hand a gift back into this medical center, I want to get a client back straight away. It doesn't work like that. It's a great way to open a door, but you have to keep that door open and you have to keep building rapport over a period of time. And it's very simple, but a lot of people just don't want to do it because they don't see results quick enough. And I think they say something like it takes 8 points of contact for people to make a buying decision pretty much in a B2B setting. And it doesn't have to be hard. Like you can even just send seasonal stuff. Like, let's think about it. You could send a quirky like Valentine's Day card to a business and be like, I wish we were working together. So, something crazy like that. You can send an Easter card. You can send an Easter egg. You can send a Christmas card. You can send, what are some other holidays? I don't really do holidays. I don't know. You get the idea. You can just send out cards and with a handwritten message on them. And that's going to take you 60 seconds a year to send out like 5 or 6 seasonal cards. But that's 6 points of contact. And that is now 6 points of goodwill that have been deposited into that relationship bank that are gearing up for you to make a withdrawal. So, it can be really easy. And obviously you can overdo it. You can go above and beyond and you can do like hampers and gift packs and things. But I'm just trying to open up your thinking and expand your mind into this concept and make you realize that it isn't as difficult as it may seem. And it isn't as expensive and time consuming as you may think. Most people just don't want to do that because they don't understand the importance of building rapport over time, and they don't follow the principle of delaying gratification. It's not something that's really part of most people's ethos in business. It's why most people are just average. It's why the average business doesn't make much money. It's because they're trying to make money. Like it's counterintuitive, but it's interesting how that works. And so I've built everything I've done in the last 6 years based on that principle. When I started social media, I went into it with no expectations. I didn't start a TikTok because I was like, I need more clients. TikTok's hot right now. TikTok's going to get me clients. And so I'm going to try to squeeze as much as I can out of this. No, I just made videos because I was like, this is fun. I want to do something new. And for the first 3 months, like my TikTok took off pretty quickly. But for the 3 months I was making videos and not really getting much out of it, like I was just having fun. I was just providing value. I was giving tips. I was giving stories and anecdotes. I wasn't like, hey, I own a cleaning business. Come use me. Like I went into it to delaying gratification and digging my well before I got thirsty. And then after a while, I've been on TikTok for, how long has it been now? A little over 2 years. And now I'm making, pretty serious money from TikTok. I make, $4,000 to $5,000 per sponsored video I do. And I can live off that. It's pretty great. But I couldn't have done that 2 years ago. And I wouldn't have gotten to this point if I started and expected results straight away. It just wouldn't have happened like that. And quite a few of the brand deals I have now, and I'm friends with some pretty big names on social media. And a lot of that happened because I would just micro deposit into people's trust accounts. Like every post, I would like them. I would comment on them. I would swipe up on stories. And it's because the consistency, it shows that you're reliable. It builds authenticity with the person you're trying to connect with. And it also just stays on the top of their mind. You're just always on their feed. You're always popping up in their inbox, and you don't have to be annoying about it. Like you can get annoying. A good example of someone doing this to me was Scott and Gabby from Kings. Like they just kept depositing over 6 months. They just kept swiping up on my stories, commenting on my posts, liking all my things, and just being really positive sources of energy in my journey. Never asking for anything, but then one day they were like, hey, do you want to try out our product line? And I was like, yeah, sure, let's do it. Because by then I knew them so well and I loved them because they were always engaging with my content, just things like that. They're really great at doing it. I see it as well. I've been around Scott a lot and he's just so good at building relationships and building rapport with people immediately and staying consistent with it. He doesn't just have a good interaction with a stranger in a business environment and then think oh, that person seemed to like me. Maybe one day they'll refer me work. No, he stays consistent with the relationship building. He's constantly messaging them on Messenger. He's sending them emails. He's giving them advice. He's giving them tips. He's engaging with their social content if they're on social media, things like that. That is why Scott and Gabby are doing so well. And it's why a lot of other people I see in the industry are doing well also, because they're taking that principle and they're exercising their ability to delay gratification and build rapport with people in unconventional ways. Whether intentional or not, I don't even know if Scott knows what he's doing, but it's incredible what he does. I don't even know if it's a conscious effort from him or if it's just in his nature to be that personable and that giving. I think it really is just in his nature. It's pretty cool. But you don't have to just be born like that. I'm not that person by nature, but I can easily operationalize it. I can see what people like that do, and I can be I can just take those principles, I can just take those actions, and I can do them as well. Even though I don't have this like innate ability or this urge to like be personable and constantly try to build rapport with people, I know the consequences of that. I know the byproduct of doing that. And so I do it. So yeah, think of every relationship as a bank account. Each act of goodwill is a deposit, whether it be your time, your kindness, your advice, sharing someone's content, whatever it is. And then asking for a sale or a referral or a favor at the end of it is a withdrawal. And most people try to withdraw from empty accounts. The pros, the ones who build brands and empires, they're always depositing long before they ever need to ask. One really good concept that I also learned from, I think it was Tony Robbins, and maybe it was Russell Brunson too. Russell Brunson definitely talked about it, is your Dream 100. And basically all you do is think of a list or write down a list of 100 people that you want to work with or 100 referral partners that you think would have your ideal clients that could refer you some of the best work you've ever had. And then just do this with them. Do this with 100 people, your Dream 100. And then after like a year or two, see the results. Work is going to come pouring in. And it doesn't have to be hard. Again, just like constantly engage with their social content. That is the easiest way to build rapport with someone in this day and age. If they're on social media, especially if they're like an influencer type, they love people that engage with them and give them positive feedback on what they're posting, what they're saying. So that is the easiest way you can do it. It's what Scott does really well from King's Cleaning Co. He does it really, really well. And I try to be that as well. I'm not like the most personable guy. I'm not the most active on social media. I kind of just go on there to post and then leave. But I try to really engage, especially with like local businesses in my areas. I follow all of them on Instagram and Facebook. I'm always liking their photos and their posts. I'll sometimes share things to my story if it can be relevant to my audience and I think it could provide value to them. I will comment, I'll engage. And that way they always remember me and they always appreciate that effort. And that will compound and it will generate a return someday. And the important thing to remember is that you can't rush trust. It's something that compounds over time. It is a slow burn. It's a slow build. Relationships that are built slowly are the ones that pay forever. So, one day a contact that you met years ago, and maybe someone that you met at a business networking event or someone that you just connected with on social media and you've stayed in touch. Maybe one day they call you and they're like, hey, our last cleaner just quit. Can you quote this? Or like, hey, you're the first person I thought of when our facility manager or our receptionist asked for a cleaner. That's the moment you cash in your goodwill and it feels effortless. And I can say without any shadow of a doubt that this principle has gotten me to where I am in pretty much every road I've taken in this journey. So building my business, building my second location, putting my first one under management. It has just been a culmination of, building goodwill with people, digging my well before I'm thirsty, and delaying gratification. So if you can harness that and you can understand that and you can get a good grasp on that mentally, because it is a big mental game. Business is the biggest mental game of all time. If you can do that, then you will achieve success. There is no two ways about it. You are destined to do well if you can get a real good understanding and follow those principles. So next time you're scrolling, next time you're at a meeting or dropping by a site, just remember, you're not only chatting, you're digging. So every comment, every call, every kind gesture, every engagement, every like, every comment on someone's social media post, that's another shovelful in your well. And then one day when you're thirsty, when you need that client, when you need that break, when you need that opportunity, your well will already be full and you can go and collect from it. And yeah. Oh, and I did that with, why did I not just lead with this? I did this with my own coaching stuff. Like, how long have I been making podcasts and how long have I been on TikTok giving advice and giving value without ever doing one-on-one coaching or ever, trying to collect from my well before it was even dug, So, but now I'm 2 years into this in this podcast, and I've just started doing one-on-one coaching, and I've already got all this goodwill with my audience. I've already got all this trust and this authenticity, so I can now go straight to that. I don't have to start from the beginning now because I've already done that proactively from the beginning. And that wasn't even a conscious effort. I just kind of did that because I wanted to give value and I wanted to give back in some way. But now, like more recently, I was like, hey, I've actually got a platform now and I really want to help people more intimately, more one-on-one. And so I did this and, I've already done it. So I'm cashing in my goodwill here shamelessly. And yeah, if you want to work with me one-on-one, again, that was a good segue into the close for this episode. You can just head to enhancedcleaning.com.au/mentorship, fill out the application, and I will get back to you within 72 hours. Just remember, it's not cheap. It is priced accordingly to the value that I'll be giving, and it's also to incentivize you to actually be invested both mentally and monetarily into the coaching as well, into the mentorship. So with that being said, I'll leave this episode here for today. I hope you got some value from this episode. If you did, pay it forward. Send it to a business owner, share it with someone you know who's also in the cleaning business, or even just a friend that has been thinking about getting into this sort of business. Don't have a scarcity mindset. Don't be scared about competition. Just share it around. We're all in this together. A rising tide raises all ships. And with that said, if you're new here, I'm Jason Shipway. This is Self-Made, and keep building before you're thirsty. See you next time.